Professed Cookery. A white fricassee of chickens. Take 4 chickens and skin them. Take out their backbones and cut them into joints, leaving their breasts whole. Wash them very clean and melt 1.5 pounds of sweet butter in a small hash pan on a very slow stove, into which put your chickens. Add to them 3 blades of mace, 6 cloves, half a nutmeg bruised, and let them simmer 1.5 hours, but not boil, in which time wash clean the backbones, necks, and gizzards of them. Add to them 1 quart of water, and put them into a saucepan covered close. Let them stew till they come to half a pint. Then strain it off, and when the fricassee is tender, pour out the butter and take out the chickens. Clean the pan and skim the butter clean from the gravy, and strain it into the hash pan, into which put your fricassee. Add to it the ½ pint of gravy, and set it on a stove. Boil 6 eggs hard and take out the yolks. Then take a gill of thick cream, and add to it some butter and flour, and put them into the fricassee, and when it boils, toss it up, and squeeze in the juice of a lemon, and set the breasts with their points square in the middle of the dish, and lay the joints round the yolks of eggs, and broiled livers all over, and pour on your sauce. Then lay green parsley and carved lemon round the dish, and strew a little cut parsley over the fricassee, and send it up. Another white fricassee of chickens. Take 3 well-grown chickens, blood them and pick off their feathers. Skin and cut them in joints, and beat their breasts flat. Wash them clean in warm water, and lay them in a stewpan, and put thereto as much soft water as will cover them, a blade of mace, and half a nutmeg sliced. Let them stew on a slow stove till they are tender. Then take them out of the broth they are stewed in, let it boil to half a pint, and strain it through a clean hair sieve. Wash clean the pan, into which put the gravy. Add ½ pint of cream, or if you have not cream, take the quantity of milk, adding double the quantity of very sweet butter, which makes it as rich as the cream. Toss it up after it is boiled. Thicken it with the juice of a lemon and a spoonful of pickled mushrooms. Lay sippets and parsley round the dish, and serve it up. To make a white fricassee of rabbits. Take young rabbits and skin them. Wash the blood clean from them. Dry them well with a clean, coarse towel, and cut them in joints. Season them with mace and nutmeg, and take 1/4 pound of butter into a clean frying pan. Set it on a very slow stove, and keep it turning all the time it is frying, that it may not brown. And when it is tender, pour off the butter. Add half a gill of cream, white veal gravy the same quantity. Put thereto 3 spoonfuls of thick melted butter, boiled truffles and morels very tender in gravy, and make a border of them round the fricassee. The 2 rabbits' heads in the middle, and their jawbones stuck into their eyes. Lay sippets round the dish, with parsley and barberry berries for garnish. Another white fricassee of rabbits. When you cannot get young rabbits, and must have a white fricassee, old rabbits have a strong taste, which may be corrected by taking half a gill of verjuice, and after you have washed and cut the rabbits into little pieces, turn every one of these pieces over in the verjuice, and add a pint of water. Take care that the water be soft, for hard water will turn them red. Let them boil softly in this water and verjuice 10 minutes, then pour it all out, and add to them a pint of white gravy. Let there be a teaspoonful of white pepper and 3 blades of mace, tied in a muslin rag, and boil on a very slow stove till the rabbits are tender, by which time the better half of the gravy will be consumed. Then take out your spices, add to the fricassee a gill of cream, and about half a gill of mushrooms. Thicken your sauce with a little flour wrought up in butter, That is, lay half a spoonful of flour on a plate, take a piece of butter, and with the back of a spoon work up the flour into the butter. And when you put it into the fricassee, toss it up all the time the butter is dissolving. So lay sippets and parsley round your dish, and serve it up. A brown fricassee of rabbits. Skin the rabbits, but keep the ears on their heads, and rub them over with butter. After that, the yolk of an egg. Then grate some bread and rub over the heads. Pin the ears upon white paper at their full length, or roast them in a dripping pan, or set them in an oven. Then cut the rabbits into little pieces. Save the 3 hind parts, and let their tails be rubbed with eggs and grated bread. Broil and baste them well with butter. Then season the fricassee with mace, pepper, nutmeg. Flour and fry them a fine light brown. Then take a quart of brown gravy into a stewpan. Put in your fricassee, and let it boil on a slow stove till there is just gravy sufficient for sauce, to which add force meat balls, a spoonful of walnut pickle or ketchup, slice 2 or 3 small gherkins, and add to it. Then toss up your fricassee with a little of thick melted butter. Lay sippets round the dish. Set the hind parts of the rabbits with the tails on the middle of the fricassee. Take off the papers from the ears, and take out the jawbones and put into their eyes. Then set them round the fricassee. This serves for a top dish, in a first and second course. A brown fricassee of chickens. Take 4 chickens, skin and cut them into joints. Only leave the breastbones whole. Flat them with a bill knife, and season them with nutmeg, pepper, and salt. Flour and fry them brown. Season all the livers of the chickens, dip them in yolks of eggs, and grate bread over them. Broil them before the fire on a tin pan. Baste them well with butter, and turn them till they are crisp. Then put them into a stewpan with a gill of strong brown gravy. Add pickled mushrooms, catsup, some asparagus tops boiled tender in hard water. Cut in lengths and breadth of your thumb. Add them to the gravy, with a teacupful of plain melted butter. Then put in your fricassee, and toss it up on a clear stove or fire till it boils, and lay it on a dish with the 4 breasts uppermost, the livers to be laid round the fricassee. Garnish with sliced lemon and green pickled gherkin. A white fricassee of veal. Take the udder of a leg of veal and stuff it with forcemeat. Sew it up, and boil it with half a pound of veal put into a saucepan, a quart of water, 2 shallots, some white pepper, and 2 blades of mace. Slice half a nutmeg, which add to it. Let it boil gently till there be 3 gills consumed. Then cut out of the leg of veal a thick piece, about the breadth of 2 of your fingers, and the length of 1. Cut it thin, and season it very lightly with nutmeg and salt. Then beat the whites of 2 eggs very well, and dip the veal into the eggs. Flour it, and have some clarified butter in a frying pan, with a clear fire. And when the butter is hot, be very quick and lay in the veal. 1 minute will do it. It must be crisp and white. Take care not to lose 1 drop of its gravy, and when you have fried all the veal, cover it and keep it hot before the fire. Strain off the gravy, skim it well, take out the udder, rub it over with the yolk of an egg, grate bread over it, and crisp it before the fire. Cut some parsley small, and throw over it. Then take the gravy and half a gill of thick cream, a piece of butter wrought up in flour. Put them into a saucepan, and toss it up. And when it is smooth, squeeze in half a lemon, or a spoonful of verjuice. Then lay your veal round the dish, pour on the sauce, set the udder in the middle, garnish with parsley and green pickles. A yellow fricassee of chickens. Take 3 chickens, pick and singe them well. Cut cut them up their backs, wash all the blood from their bones, flat them with the side of a bill knife, then season them with mace and salt, and fry them on a slow stove 1/4 of an hour. Then add to them a quart of fair water, and let them stew till they are tender, and till such time as there's just as much liquor as is sufficient for the sauce. Then take a pennyworth of saffron, infuse it into a glass of Rhenish wine, and broil the chicken livers. Add to them half a gill of mushrooms, and after you have extracted all the color from the saffron, strain the wine into the fricassee. Thicken it with butter and flour, toss it up, lay the chickens whole on the dish, and pour the sauce over them. Lay the broiled livers round them. Garnish with parsley and carved lemon. Do a red fricassee of chickens. Do the chickens as above directed, adding to them the same quantity of water. Take some red berries of a lobster, bruise and boil them in a gill of water, and strain them through a hair sieve into a fricassee. Add to it some forcemeat balls, and when it is stewed to a gravy sufficient for sauce, thicken it with a little drawn butter, and broil the livers and gizzards, and lay them round the fricassee. Garnish as above directed. A green fricassee of chickens. Singe, season, and fry 3 chickens as above directed. Boil 100 of the tops of asparagus in water, and add to the chickens. Then melt 1/4 pound of butter. Make it very green with sorrel beaten in a mortar, and the juice strained into the butter. Boil parsley and mix it with the butter. Then when the chickens are stewed till there is left about just half a pint of liquor, toss in the green butter and parsley. Toss it up, lay your chickens in the dish with the asparagus tops round them. Pour over the green sauce. Garnish with parsley, and serve it up. Nota bene. By these above-mentioned receipts, you may fricassee partridge, pigeons, lamb, or veal. To ragout a breast of veal. Take the thick brisket part of the breast of veal, cut it in thick slices, and set it on to stove in a stew pan. Add to it 2 quarts of water and cover it close. Then bone the thin part of it, and make a savory forcemeat, and rub the inside of the veal with the yolk of an egg, upon which lay a thin layer of forcemeat. Then roll up the veal tight, and put it into a pot, and let it stand 2 hours in an oven, the other stewing all the time over a slow stove. Add to it 2 veal sweetbreads cut in pieces, truffles and morels. Boil 2 beef palates tender, and cut into dices, some pickled mushrooms, and when the gravy is consumed to a quantity sufficient for sauce, thicken it up, and pour it into a dish. Set the roll in the middle. Garnish the dish with lemon. To make Scotch collops. 2 pounds of veal will make a middling dish of collops. Cut them very thin and season them with mace, nutmeg, and pepper, and fry them of a light brown. And as you fry them, cover them close up, and set them before the fire. Put into the frying pan a little strong broth, boil it, and pour into a porringer. So rub out your pan exceeding clean. Put in more butter and fry all the collops, and put them to the other collops. Then take gravy into the frying pan and boil it up, and strain it through a clean sieve into a saucepan. Take 20 forcemeat balls and fry them. Add to the sauce a spoonful of catsup, 2 artichoke bottoms cut in quarters. Boil up your sauce. Dish up your collops, pour on your sauce, and lay over your fried balls with rashers of bacon, and so serve it up. Stuffed Scotch collops. Cut your collops out of the thick part of the leg of veal. Let them be thin, and rub every collop with the yolk of an egg. Then have ready some savory forcemeat, and spread a thin layer over every collop, and lay it double. Cut it square, and lay them on a flat-bottomed earthen dish well buttered, upon which strew over grated bread. Then set them in an oven of an equal heat, top and bottom, till they are of a light brown. In the meantime, take the fragments you cut off the collops, and fry them brown. Add 2 pints of water, 2 shallots, an anchovy, Jamaica and black pepper, and let it boil gently till 3 gills be consumed. Then strain it, and add thereto a spoonful of mushrooms. Take a saucepan and a little butter, boil it up, and pour it over the dish, upon which lay your stuffed collops. Garnish with green pickles. To make larded Scotch collops, take a fillet piece of a leg of veal, and cut 5 large collops off it. Lard them all over with very clear and well-cured bacon, and cut some collops very thin. Beat and season them with nutmeg, mace, pepper, and salt. Season the larded collops on the underside, which is not the side that is larded. Fry them in clarified butter, and after them the other collops. Then have ready some strong brown gravy, catsup a spoonful, some mushrooms or truffles and morels boiled tender in water, and after in the gravy. Fry forcemeat balls, and put the plain collops into a hash pan, where the gravy and other ingredients are, and toss them up over a clear stove or fire. Dish them up, and lay 4 of the larded collops round the bottom, and on the middle. Garnish with carved lemon and sliced cucumber. Veal in blankets. Cut out of a fillet of veal 6 collops, which must be 5 inches long, and 4 broad. Beat and season them with nutmeg, pepper, and salt. Rub them all over with the yolk of an egg. Then take savory meat and lay on every collop a thin layer. Make some cold paste of a quart of flour, into which rub 6 ounces of butter very small amongst the flour. Beat up an egg with as much water as will make a stiff paste. Then cut it into 6 sheets and roll them into squares, something larger than your collops. Roll up your collops. After that, roll them in this paste. Every one must be rolled in a clean cloth, and to be boiled an hour. Then take them up. Set 3 in the dish with their ends in the middle. Cut the other 3 down the middle. Lay the cut side uppermost, and 2 cut halves between each whole one. For sauce, gravy and butter. Send it up hot. Take 4 collops of the same bigness. To make veal olives. Take 4 collops of the same bigness as above taught, and lay yolks of eggs, seasoning and forcemeat, in the aforesaid manner. Then cut out the belly part of the bacon 8 rashers, every rasher so long as to lap round the rolled veal, 2 rashers to every roll. Lay them on a flat-bottomed earthen plate, and set them in an oven 3/4 of an hour. Then have ready half a gill of good gravy. Take out your veal olives, and pour out the fat from them. Lay them on the dish, and the gravy that they have discharged in the oven. Pour in the other gravy. Boil it up, and pour into the other dish wherein the olives are, and so serve it up. A breast of veal ragout. Take a breast of veal, bone and cut it with a sharp knife on the upper side, by way of checker work across. Make of bacon and lemon skin lardons an inch long, and lard the breast all over the upper side with them of each an equal quantity, by way of mixture. Turn the other side and season it with nutmeg, pepper, and salt. Half roast it before the fire. Then have ready a quart of gravy in a large stewpan over a slow stove, into which put your breast of veal. Cover the pan close. Then take an ox foot, and cut the cloven part betwixt the hooves into very small dices, by way of ox palates. It is exceeding fine, and answers to the same purpose. Take 20 forcemeat balls fried, and when your liquor is half washed, wasted, add the balls and oxfoot. When you find the veal very tender, have ready 2 sweetbreads brown broiled. Cut them in dices and add to the ragout. And when the gravy is consumed to such a quantity as is just sufficient for sauce, take 20 fresh oysters bearded, and put them into the ragout a minute before you send it up. Lay sippets and carved lemon round the dish, then lay on the veal, and pour over the ragout. To ragout a fillet of veal. Cut a fillet of veal, stuff it with savory forcemeat, and put it into an earthen pot with half a pint of water. Cover it over with 2 sheets of cap paper, and tie it with pack thread. Set it in an oven 3 hours, in which time take a pound of beef, cut it into thin slices, and take a slice of butter into a stewpan, and fry the beef brown. Then put in 3 pints of water, 2 shallots, and an anchovy. Let it boil very gently till 1 pint is consumed. Then strain it off into a saucepan. Add to it half an ounce of truffles and morels, and let them boil tender. Likewise 2 artichoke bottoms cut in quarters, forcemeat balls, an ox palate boiled tender and cut in pieces. Add to this the ragout. And when the veal is enough, take it out of the oven, pour off the gravy from it, skim off the fat, and strain the gravy into the ragout. Then lay the fillet of veal on a dish, pour over it the ragout, and lay sippets round the dish and carved lemon. A pokey tongue. Take a large loin of lamb, make forcemeat of the kidney and fat. Take out the chin bone, cut all the lean in slices, and lay them in the form of a boiled tongue, a layer of forcemeat and 1 of lamb. When you have made it in the form of a beef's tongue, cover it all over with forcemeat. Set it in an oven an hour and a half. For sauce, have some brown gravy and capers. Set the tongue on the dish, and serve it up. A pokey tongue. Take a large loin of lamb, make forcemeat of the kidney and fat. Take out the chin bone, cut all the lean in slices, and lay them in the form of a boiled tongue, a layer of forcemeat and 1 of lamb. When you have made it in the form of a beef's tongue, cover it all over with forcemeat. Set it in an oven an hour and a half. For sauce, have some brown gravy and capers. Set the tongue on the dish, and serve it up. A palatine. Cut out of the thick part of a leg of veal 1.5 pounds into round slices. Take 3/4 pound of savory forcemeat, and season the veal with salt, pepper, and nutmeg. Lay the kell of the veal in the bottom of a round pot. Then lay a slice of veal upon the kell, and upon the veal a layer of forcemeat. Sew veal upon that till all is laid in layers. Set it in an oven an hour and a half, and for sauce take the gravy that it discharges, skimming off all the fat. Add to it a spoonful of catsup, the juice of half a lemon, likewise half a gill of good gravy, thickened with a little melted butter. Set the palatine in the dish, and slice gherkin or pickled cucumber for garnishing. Then serve it up. A calf's head hash. Be very careful of taking the brains whole out of the head. Let it be very well washed, and boiled in soft water. Take a pound of veal and cut it in thin slices. Fry it in a stewpan with butter till it is brown. Then take 3 pints of the broth that it was boiled in, and put into the pan to the fried veal. Add to it sweet marjoram and thyme. Let all boil till it is good. Then cut 1/2 of the head into thin slices. Strain off the gravy from the veal and herbs. Season the head with mace, nutmeg, and pepper. Put Put it into the hash pan with the gravy, and let it stew over a slow stove. Then take the other half of the head and cut off the skull bone and mouth. Cut it with a sharp knife across, and rub it with the yolk of an egg. Grate bread over, and brown it before the fire, basting it with butter, and strew over it some green parsley cut small. Then take the brains, and take off the red strings they are covered with. Dip them in egg. Strew over them some grated bread, and have some boiling fat to fry the brains in. Add 20 forcemeat balls, half a gill of pickled mushrooms, and when the hash is very tender, and there is no more gravy than is proper for sauce to it, pour in a little melted butter. Lay carved sippets round the dish, and pour on your hash. Set the broiled half in the middle, with rashers of bacon over it, and the fried brains on each side. To hash a calf's head white. Boil the calf's head in the above manner. Take out the brains as aforesaid, and take 2 quarts of the liquor that the head was boiled in. Add to it a pound of veal cut into little pieces, 2 blades of mace, a nutmeg cut into slices, an onion, and a little white pepper. Cut the one side of the head in slices, and when the white gravy is consumed to 1 quart, strain it off. Wash your hash pan, and put in the hash and gravy, and let it stew till the gravy is half consumed. Then make 20 balls of white forcemeat and put into the hash unfried. Add a spoonful of mushrooms. Dip the brains in eggs and fry them. Add to the hash half a gill of thick cream. Garnish the dish with sippets and green parsley. Toss up your hash and pour it into the dish. Lay the brains in the middle and some rashers of bacon round. How to stew the other side of the head. Cut a pound of veal or beef thin and fry it brown with butter. Add to it 2 quarts of the broth the head was boiled in. Add to it likewise a rocambole. This is a sort of garlic that is red, and exceeds shallot or onion. Then take 6 lambstones and 6 suckles. Fry them brown, but season them with nutmeg, pepper, and salt first, and cut every lambstone in 2. Then strain off the gravy clean out of the pan, and put in the half head, lambstones, and suckles. Add some pickled kidney beans cut small. Thicken the gravy with butter and flour. Lay the half head in the middle, the stones and suckles round it fried, parsley and green pickles for garnishing. To stew a lamb's head and pluck. Take a lamb's head, take the skin off it, and take out the eyes, cut the liver in 2, wash the head and pluck very clean, and put it into a large saucepan to boil. Take half of the liver and beat it in a marble mortar, or shred it on a board. Grate some bread, thyme, sweet marjoram, parsley, nutmeg, pepper, salt, an egg, and a slice of sweet butter. Work it up with your hand, and put it into a piece of clean linen cloth, and boil it with the head and pluck. Then cut the other half of the liver very thin, and fry it in a hash pan with butter and 2 rashers of bacon ham. Then take the broth the lamb's head and pluck were boiled in, and pour it into the hash pan, and let it boil. Boil 30 asparagus, cut off their tops, and add them to the hash. Then pour in a little melted butter, and take the boiled forced liver, cut into slices. Then pour the hash into the dish. Set the head in the middle. Lay over the head and hash the sliced forced liver, and serve it up. How to dress a veal's pluck. Take one of the best veal's pluck you can get. Take off the liver, heart, and cat's collop, and set on the lights to boil in a large saucepan that has a cover. Put water to it, cover it close, and set it on the fire to boil. Then take half a pound of the veal's liver, a quarter of a pound of beef suet shred small with the liver. Season it with parsley, thyme, sweet marjoram, nutmeg, pepper, and salt. Add to it 1 egg, and a little grated bread. Tie this in a piece of clean linen, and boil it with the lights. Add to it shallots and sweet herbs. Then cut the veal's heart into thin slices, and fry in a hash pan with butter. Cut 3 slices of the liver, and fry brown with the heart. Then take out the lights, and add the broth it was boiled in to the heart and liver. And when there is no more gravy than what is sufficient for sauce, slice half of the lights and add to it, and thicken the gravy with a little of thick melted butter, and pour all round the forced liver. Lay sippets round the dish, and send it to the table. To make another dish of veal's pluck, take the cat's collop, and with a sharp pointed knife, slit it open at one end down to the other. Then force a piece of the liver as above, and stuff this collop. Sew up the end and set it in an oven, or broil it before the fire. And in the meanwhile cut half a pound of veal into thin slices, and fry in a clean hash pan, over a slow stove with butter. Cut 4 slices of the liver and fry with the veal. Then put to it 2 quarts of water, an onion stuck with 4 cloves, sweet herbs, and a few corns of black pepper, and when the gravy is half consumed, strain it off. Then take 2 calf's feet that has been boiled tender. Take out their bones, cut them in thin slices. Cut the other half of the lights as above, and let them stew till there is no more gravy than what is required for sauce. Then take the cat's collop and lay it in the middle of the hash. Fry some liver, and lay round all with rashers of bacon. To make a ragout of beef, take and cut 4 pounds of the rib end of the forecrop next to the chin, which is mixed like to a neat's tongue. Season it with mace, nutmeg, pepper, and salt, and put it close down into a stewpan or pot, with 1/4 pound of butter, a pint of water, a head of shallot. Cover it close, and let it stand 3 hours in an oven. Then take a pound of the buttock of bullock beef, and cut into thin slices, and fry in a hash pan brown with butter. Then add to it 3 pints of water, some sweet marjoram and thyme, and let it stew over a gentle stove. Then make some savory forcemeat into round balls. 2 ox palates, boiled tender and cut into dices. 2 sweetbreads, broiled brown and cut into square dices. 4 artichoke bottoms, boiled and cut into 4 each, and a spoonful of pickled mushrooms. When the gravy is consumed to a pint, strain it off and wash the pan. Then put in all as above into the stewpan, and when the beef has been the full time in the oven, take it out and put it in the ragout, and skim off all the fat from the gravy that the beef was stewed in. Strain it and put it to the ragout, and let it stew till there is no more gravy than is sufficient for sauce. Lay sippets round the dish, and garnish with green pickles. Set the beef in the middle, and over it pour the ragout. Beef à la mode. Take a thin, ribby piece of beef next to the brisket, bone and roll it close up after seasoning it with mace, cloves, nutmeg, and salt. Then put it into a stew pot that will just hold it, and let it stand in an oven all night. Then take bones of the beef and boil in 3 quarts of water, with a bundle of sweet herbs and an onion. Then take a pound of veal and cut into thin collops, and fry brown. And when 1/2 of the broth of the beef bones was boiled in is consumed, strain it into the stewpan to the fried veal, and let it stew to a pint. Then boil 100 of large asparagus, strain off the gravy from the veal, and cut the green tops of the grass into inch lengths, and let them stew in the gravy 5 minutes. To keep the beef hot, you must keep it before a hot fire, and pour the gravy from it, and skim off all the fat. Then add the beef gravy to the asparagus, and boil it up. Toast some bread and lay round the dish. Set the beef in the middle, pour over the stewed asparagus, and send it up.